Hello. Okay, so I'm gonna do a video really quick on how Cody's transition has affected or impacted, that's a better word, our relationship so far, because that was a pretty big thing that we both went through. So Cody came out in March. He's 24, and I'll be turning 23 in 3 days. Um, so we started going out when I was 18 and he was 19. Actually, no, he was 20. We started going out when he was 20 and I was 18. And we both identified as lesbian. I was going through a lot of stuff with my sexual orientation, but he had his pretty much figured out. So, fast forwarding through a lot, I now identify as pansexual, I guess, and as demisexual. Um, I don't know. I like to call it, I'm very person specific. And to me, basically, it really doesn't matter what your gender is. If I like you, then I like you. But again, it's like I don't like everybody that I meet. I don't, like everyone. It's very, very specific to me. Um, and Cody now identifies as straight, I guess. So our sexualities have kind of changed for the better, so that's good. But basically, when he came out in March, I was taking a gender identity class, and that's really how this kind of all started. I made him write me a letter on how he was feeling, because for a while, there's a kitty tail again. Even at the very beginning of our relationship, I would always make jokes to him about him having a man brain and like I was dating a boy and all this stuff. And kitty tail. And we had always made jokes about that. But then when I started taking this gender identity class, and even a little bit before that, things had been coming up that kind of made me feel like there was more going on and he just wasn't saying anything. So I made him write me a letter about what he was feeling, and he kind of talked about it, but not really. And then he started creating like an online journal for himself and really kind of figured it out through that, I think, and through me coming home and talking about gender identity and all this kind of stuff. And it was something that he was really, really repressing for a very, very long time. So I think that it was a shock in some ways and not in others. I wasn't shocked that he came out as transgender. I wasn't shocked that was a thing for him. What was a little shocking, though, I think, is that it was something that I thought was happening for a really long time, and the fact that he wasn't saying anything, it was just how it was. And I think him actually saying something about it and being like, yes, this is how it is, this is who I am, was a shocking thing. I don't know if shocking is the right word, but that's what I'm going to use. So I actually did have a somewhat of an issue, not because he was trans, not because I didn't like it, but just because I felt like a person that I had been with for basically 4 years, it would have been 4 years and a couple months at that point, I felt like suddenly that was going to go away and it was going to completely change and everything was going to be different, and like I was losing someone that I cared about for 4 years, which was not the case. Being trans does not mean that you are completely changing who you are as a person. You're going to stay the same person. You're just going to be the person, how you feel on the inside, outwardly. So I had a better time calling Cody by his preferred name. Kind of earlier on, that was the first thing that I was like, okay, I can do that, and that's great. So I did that. The preferred gender pronouns, I was having an issue with. I was still saying she and her. I was still referring to Cody as she and her. Even though he said it was okay at the time, that I was getting used to it. He was very understanding about this whole thing. And we kind of went through that. And at the very, very beginning of everything, I think he was trying to make me feel better because he was saying that he wasn't sure about testosterone, that wasn't something he wanted to do, surgery wasn't something he wanted to do, that he didn't really know, that just like for right now, this is how he felt. He was going to start looking more like a guy on the outside. He cut his hair, which I was super excited about. Started changing his clothes, which I also was super excited about. I felt like it really fit him. And changed his name and his pronouns. So I was like totally supportive of the whole outward appearance change. I was cool with the name. The gender pronouns felt really weird to me for a while. It took me a little bit, a couple months, to be able to do that. And I felt really bad about it because I'm like, of all people, I should be one that's like really supportive. I'm the one that made him talk about it. I'm the one that really made him sit down and think about it and kind of admit it to everybody. And that was the other thing, which I guess he can talk about a little more because it's about him. But when he came out to all of our friends, I hadn't seen him the entire day, and I saw him. We were going to see Laverne Cox, which if you don't know who she is, you should look her up because she's amazing. We went to see her, and it was like 8 o'clock at night that night, and I hadn't seen him since like 7 in the morning because he went to work. And so when I got there before him, and like everybody came up. All of our friends were like, "Oh my God, how's Cody? This is so awesome!" Da da da. And I got very overwhelmed. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't, like totally okay with everything for a little bit. So I think it just kind of was very overwhelming, and that was a thing. And like I said, I had a couple mental breakdowns about it. I felt really, really unsure about it. Just because I was coming at the perspective of I'm going to lose the person that I care about. And like it's going to be different. And I just kind of freaked out and just had this like, oh my God, this isn't going to be the same anymore. Even though I have friends, we both have friends who are trans, and they're totally the same. I guess just it happening to me and to our relationship and to him made it very different. When they say it's different when it's yourself or things like that, it kind of is. I hate to say that, but it kind of is. But overall, I think that we are extremely open about everything. He is very open about his gender identity. I'm extremely open about my sexuality. I think that really helps it continue as a process because I got the name down. I finally, after a couple months, got the gender pronouns down. Yet I was still viewing him as my girlfriend, instead of a boy. So it was like, yeah, I'm saying he and him, and I'm saying Cody, but you're still my girlfriend. So that until I would say about a month ago, I that's when that kind of changed. And right now, as of this moment, I see him as a guy. When I look at him, that's just how I see. That's what I see. Call him Cody, call him he and him, and do that kind of stuff. So right now, I would say our relationship is in a really good spot right now. I think that, took me 3.5 months. It was March, now it's the middle of June, so whatever that time span is, to really come full circle with everything and feel comfortable with where we are right now. But I did during that and that sounds like a short time that I like totally became fine with everything. But during those short months, I freaked out a lot and I had mental breakdowns a lot and I had, a lot of negative feelings, in that short amount of time more frequently. And it was kind of a consistent thing that I was feeling. So it was kind of like negative, for I would say 2.5 months. And then really the past month or so is when I feel like I'm like, you know what, this is fine. This is gonna be a journey that we're gonna take together. It's gonna be something that we're gonna feel good about together, and I'm gonna be there for him and he's gonna be there for me, and we're going to support each other. And the main thing with that is just literally seriously being open about everything that you're feeling, which is, it can get tiring. It's like, I know we've already talked about this, but you need to just keep talking about it. So that's kind of my side of the story real quick. I just want to make a video, to let people know about how I was dealing. Because right now, if you were to talk to us, we'd be like, oh yeah, everything's 1,000% cool. And just to let people know, like, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if, you've been with someone and they transition and it's hard for you at first, because it's going to be. No one is going to come into this like, cool, I'm like 100% happy. Unless it was something that was especially if it was something that was previously talked about and it was something that was gonna happen. But if it just kind of, in our case, was very suppressed and very repressed and wasn't talked about a lot, except for the jokes here and there, it is gonna be an adjustment. It's always an adjustment. So that's kind of my view on it right now and where we are right now. And I just thought to make a video about it and let everybody know. And we're both going to make separate videos and videos together. I'm going to make more videos about the relationship end of it and how that's going, and kind of things that I get, from our friends or from society, from like random people, things like that on my end. And he's going to talk more about his own personal experience about it. Then we're going to have videos together about it. So that's it for right now. Yeah. Okay. See you later.